and she peered up at him through her fringe. Now, when you peer up at somebody, peer is a way of looking, and it just means looking here. She peered up at him, she looked up at him. It's exactly the same as she looked up at him through her fringe. Notice that with all verbs of looking, we can use that up at when you are low and you're looking up at somebody. So you look up at somebody, you peer up at somebody, you peek up at somebody, you stare up at somebody, glare up at somebody, gaze up at somebody. All of those verbs of looking can be used with this up at when you are low and you're looking up at somebody. And so she peered up at the guy in the story. I've forgotten his name, sorry guys. She peered up at him, Dexter. That's it, Dexter. She peered up at Dexter through her fringe. Now, I don't have a fringe at the moment. My wife has just cut my hair. And usually though, when it gets longer and longer and longer, I have a fringe. Your fringe is the bit that comes down your forehead here. So when you've got longer hair, you have a fringe. And Emma has a fringe, and she looked up at Dexter, sorry, not at I'm David, but she looked up at Dexter through her fringe. And so her fringe is coming down over her eyes here, and she's looking up at him through her fringe. But remember this word fringe, because a lot of people have a fringe. It's quite fashionable to have some kind of hair at the front that comes out a little bit longer over the forehead. And he also has a fringe, by the way, but we're going to learn that in the next sentence, which she calls it a quiff. A quiff. His fringe is in a quiff, and a quiff is when you have a fringe but it sticks out or up in some kind of way. I had a quiff when I was 15 or 16 or 17. I had a kind of quiff. I had a side parting like that, and I used to use gel, hair gel, to put my quiff up so it would stand up. It was fashionable in those days. Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I don't want a quiff. But in those days, I wanted a quiff, and I put a little bit of gel on my hair so that I had a quiff. And we learnt in the last class, actually, because we did this past perfect part. I'm going to speak about that again because I'm not happy with how I explained it in the first class. But whatever gel Dexter used had already worn off. Now, we need this had worn off because it had worn off before, maybe even before they went to bed, yeah, before they even got to Emma's room. His quiff had, the gel had already worn off, yeah, had already basically stopped working, yeah. When gel wears off, it stops working. When a drug wears off, it stops working on you. When alcohol wears off, it stops working, it stops having an effect on you. So it's not just gel which wears off. Alcohol wears off, drugs wear off. That's also used for wear off, but you could use it for makeup as well. Her makeup had worn off, meaning her makeup had stopped working, it had disappeared. And of course, makeup wears off over time, and so does hair gel. Hair gel wears off. So whatever gel he used had worn off, and now the quiff looked pert and fluffy. Now, pert is a very common word, well, not very, very, very common, but pretty common. And the quiff looked pert and fluffy. Pert usually means standing upright. It means small and stiff in an attractive way. Yeah, that might sound strange to you. Small and stiff in an attractive way. The nouns that collocate with pert are, yeah, and you'll quite like this one, a pert bottom, yeah, a pert bottom, and I mean a pert bum. I really do, yeah. It's a very positive way of describing somebody, because somebody with a pert bottom, it sounds like an attractive bottom, an attractive backside. Okay, that's what it means. And so I hope I have a pert bottom, but we also say pert breasts, or even pert nipples. And all of these expressions, pert breasts, pert bottom, pert nipples, they describe parts of the body which are firm, small, attractive. Yeah, all at the same time. Firm, small and attractive. Okay, that's what pert is.